Hey guys, thanks for checking back in. It's been a few weeks since Dragon Con, and I just wanted to do an update and let you guys know what's going on, what's happening, and some of the revisions that I've made to the system here since then. So Dragon Con event went well, got there Friday, stayed till about Sunday afternoon, just after we had a droid panel, which was pretty cool. I got to be on that, talk about the process and a few things, so it was pretty cool. Got to meet some great people out there. Got to meet some of the people from the BBA Builders Group, and it was just a great experience to be around the public there with the machine showing it off. Um, so Matt and I were there, and we got there Friday night and set up in the atrium room, and that was the area where the Star Wars panel was going to be for the builders, as well as some of the stuff for the kids, like the puppets and whatnot. So it was just a great spot to be. So the some of the challenges I had when I get there was, and I made the revision already, was with our wireless switch that we had. The last picture I posted was me setting up a separate relay for the switch, so that way the switch wasn't acting as a relay. So now there's a separate relay that the switch turns on, which is a better way to go about it, and that was a learning thing for me, and it seems to work great now. It has its own 30 amp fuse built into the relay, and so far there hasn't been any hiccups with it. I'm gonna get it back in the sphere here tonight and start driving around the house, scaring the kids. No, I won't scare the kids. Anyway, some of the things that we saw was how maneuverable it was, and how the coding is going to have to be so crucial to the drive. And what I mean is that the user has total control over this right now, without any what I want to say, acceleration and deceleration values on it. So every video you see is me accelerating, decelerating. It took about an hour and a half, 2 hours, just to get used to what it does. And once I got that, I felt comfortable with it. So I think that'll be very crucial once I get it back in there, is to start digging into the code to polish it off. So that'll be awesome. And also activating the IMUs, so that way the active stability will be there, pretty much letting the hardware do its job, so that way you don't have to be that so precise with all of the movement, so it makes you look good. Anyway, moving on from that, one of the let's talk about all the good things that I thought worked well. I thought the head mechanism worked well. I thought the flywheel performed great, and the drive performed great as well. The some of the things we learned was the flywheel motor was heating up. So one of the revisions we first decided on while we were there, and I'll just tilt this forward a little bit so we can see it, is I have an integrated heatsink and fan on that. So, and this will open up this next conversation. So we're cooling a fan, we're using a cooling fan heatsink to cool the motor. So, and then we have a ball around it. Where's the heat go? It's got to go somewhere, right? So I'm incorporating cooling fans in two of the panels. So one will draw air in, the other will draw air out, creating an ambient temperature in there that'll stay constant. So, and using the club panels, I have one here, we're able to take two of the panels that have these 3 slits in them here, and I have a fan that's 30 by 30 by 7 millimeters tall, and that'll just hot glue into there, run on the 5-volt low voltage side, and that way one on one side will draw air in, draw air out. And I've already tested the fans, you get some good air movement out of it, and that's really what you need. So I haven't seen a conversation about that either on the forums and the group page, so I thought that was a neat thing to add, because these are sealed motors, and other people are putting air-cooled motors in there. So, but if there's no air movement, the temperature inside is always going to raise because of the heat of the motor, the heat of the electrical components. So I think it's a good idea to regulate the temperature in there, or keep it a constant. So I'll have air blowing on this, I'll have air blowing in and out of one of the other 2 fans. So let me know what you guys think about that. I've gotten some good feedback on it from the groups that I've been talking with, and I'm pursuing it, so I'm going to start doing that either this weekend or the first of the week, and we'll see how it goes. So moving on. So one of the things I didn't have working 100% was the head spin at the event. So, and I knew that going into it because I had the old 785 high-tech servos in there, and this is now the 9380s brushless servos. I already have the gear ratio going in there, so we have an 84 tooth meshed into, and I'll just stick this in temporarily, to a 48 tooth. Slide it right in. There we go. So that way, BB's head will have 170 degrees rotation in either direction, so he'll almost look backwards. But that's the closest I could get it with the, and the smallest gear, Servo City, will have a 1/2 inch hole in that I can broach it. So, so I think it'll be pretty good for now. I am getting a newer servo here that it's multi-rotation, so that way I can swap that out and we can get some of the weight off of this too. That'll be cool. So I'm just gonna pull that back out and hopefully it won't attach to anything. There we go. So you can see this, the old pocket, and the new one actually has one of the stainless steel parts that'll be part of the kit I'm going to be providing for that, and I'll get more into that in a little bit. So, and then the servo mounts to that, and basically just connects back up again. So pretty cool. The second thing I found out on the drive was I had the new Bevel Box here, and one of the things I found was this little piece was missing, and it broke super clean, and Matt and I never heard anything break, never heard any rattling, and so there was no indication that the Bevel Box had a little failure on that. Now, did it happen early on? Did it happen the last day we were there? Don't know. Didn't see a difference from start to finish. So I showed this to a few vendors that are into 3D printing, and they took one look at it and they said, Dave, the walls and the top are just way too thin, and that's probably why it broke. So went ahead and redesigned this, and basically, if I were to take, I don't have it with me right now, but the mast here that sticks down, there's a curve on it. So basically, I made this much taller, adding 2.5 thickness of what it was, 2.5 times the thickness of what it was, and I printed this whole piece solid. So I just went for broke before I have to make any aluminum parts out of here. So that way, for the end users like yourselves, you'll be able to just still print it. So, so this was this had a revision, and that's already in there, ready to go. So as the only part that technically, let's just call it broke, I put another revision out there, and I'll be testing it out this week. So good luck on that. So we talked about the cooling, we talked about the improvements to the head gimbal so I can get that working. We also have the Bevel Box that has been revised. And I also have a weight block that I just printed earlier last week, and this actually sits in the front, right in here. I didn't have it in place because I was helping Matt run his wiring. So it just bolts straight on, which is kind of cool. It adds another 1.5 pounds to the front, balancing him out. Because if you see in the video, his head is always kind of leaning back a little bit. Now, granted, there's no stability feedback from the IMUs. That's all just dead reckoning or just dead weight. But what I also found out is when it's in my cradle, he's still leaned back just a little bit. So this weight balances him out really well, to the point where it's balanced front and back, left and right now. So pretty perfect. So all this is filled with lead shot, number 8 lead shot, really small, and then I just glossed it over with some resin, so it held it in really nicely. Let's see here. There was one change to the flywheel gear at the bottom. I added an aluminum hub there just to grab the shaft better. I'd have to flip it upside down to show you, but I'll put a couple stills with this video so you guys can see that too. Let's see here. So that was mainly the biggest thing that biggest things that happened at Dragon Con, and it still performed really well. You learn a lot from going to these events, and you get some feedback from people, which was great, because feedback is priceless sometimes, because if you're the only one seeing it, sometimes your vision is one-sided, and you need to hear the facts. So it was cool hearing some of the feedback there. So some of the revisions, the metal parts that were part of this, I remember there was a separation here. I don't know if I mentioned to you in the last video, where the brass gear and the gear rack had a separation. It wasn't 100% mesh, so I had this plate re-laser cut, 1/2 millimeter further, closer to the gear rack. So that worked out well. Let's see. That's really it for the revisions on the machine. I'm just excited to get back into it and start driving it and make some of the changes there. One of the things I wanted to announce as well is I talked about a kit. Now I'm putting together a kit of all the metal parts. So the 1/4 inch parts that are water jet cut, the 1/8 inch stainless steel parts that are water jet cut, the broached gears that are going to be part of that. So you're going to have a package full of everything that'll be provided, so the end users such as yourself will just do limited amount of metalworking. There's going to be a little bit here, and there always is, I think, when you get to the complexity of these machines, but the end users such as yourself won't be putting out a lot of these machining setup fees that are part of it if you want one part. But if you get them all together, you're able to get bundle pricing, and you can pass on the savings. So that'll be cool, and more will come to that later, guys. I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that I was going to be doing this, and providing a build of materials list. Then we're going to be doing some videos on how to put it together and all, and a BOM, of course. So with that being said, I do have a small group of people that are diligently putting this together right now. So they're all at different stages, and we're actually waiting on a few parts too as well to get them moving along. So the goal there is to get everybody close to being running by the Last Jedi movie, and if they're not, that's fine, because these builds take a while, and some people who have a lot more free time can really dedicate their time to it. But this way we'll have a great group of people that can back anybody who wants to put it together, and have that backing to have a successful build. So just wanted to share that with you guys. So the beta process is in motion, and hopefully the outcome will just be like this or even better from that. So we're looking forward to it, pretty excited. So look for some of those people to be posting on the page here, and some of them have started a build forum, a build blog on the BBA Builders Group forum. So go and check that out too as well. So I know one other thing, I know some of you guys have reached out for some coding. I did want to seek out if anybody had any experience with C# doing robotics coding. Let me know, send me a private message, because we're looking for a little bit of help with that too as well, just to help polish off some of the things there. Alright guys, well, I hope I definitely shared enough information with you guys today. Sorry for the delay, but I want to make sure I had good information and exciting information, that things are in motion and things are good to come, hopefully in the next few months for you guys. So thanks for checking in, and happy building, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.